This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Everybody, it is the After Party live on a Hide in Your Cave Monday. My hair's messy. I look a mess. I have some complaining to do. Not just kind of sharing, I guess. Commiserating, you could say. So I don't know how long ago, before my mom fell ill. So that was, gosh, I want to say 4 months ago at least. I did something to my knee. Like I hit it on the side of the dishwasher and then I did something else to it. It was like 2 injuries in a row. And so I've been hobbling around for a while. Recently, it got worse. And today I have to go see a doctor. So this show might be a little short because I have a doctor's appointment coming up. And that's why I just wanted to let you know what's happening. Also, if you see me in Petaluma hobbling around, I have a knee problem. I hate to go to the doctor. I just hate it so much. I will suffer through hoping things will fix themselves rather than go, but it's not getting better. So I have to bite the bullet and do it. Thank you for your patience with that. It is Hide in Your Cave Monday, and there's a couple of cool caves I'm surprised we haven't mentioned on the show before, but we're mentioning them today. One of them is a totally contained ecosystem and it's pretty famous, and the other is a place where the oldest jewelry in the world has been found. So we'll talk about both of those. But and thank you, by the way, teacher Lori, who sent me the most beautiful pictures, wildlife pictures that I'll share with you in a moment as well. But before we move on, I do want to ask you to click like and subscribe. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to the folks that have contributed to the After Party Live as well. Can't tell you, this show does not happen without that. There's a lot of costs associated with putting it on and paying for platforms and paying for internet services and everything else that are upgraded. So I just honestly thank you so much for helping keep the show going. It's because of you that it exists. So thank you for that. The most recent PayPal contributions have come from Wes, who today kicks in another 5. Thank you, Wes. Carrie Q, Martha D, Rosalie A, and Delette. Thank you guys so much for your recent PayPal contributions to the After Party Live. And you can find the PayPal information in every show description, and the super chats and super stickers are always open as well. All right, let's move to this interesting story about a brand new ladybug, and it was hiding right near where researchers were hanging out at school. This is from Japan. This ladybug that you see on your screen right now, this little black ladybug, is the size of a grain of sand. Super, super tiny ladybug. And there it was, right there at Kyushu University, the Hakozai satellite area of this university. This insect measuring about 1 millimeter in length. They've named it Parasthorus pinicola. And it was right there on campus the whole time. This ladybug was found on a pine tree at Kyushu University. So the name they've given it means pine dweller. Barely more than 0.39 inches. They were, a couple of the researchers there were studying an updated categorization of a group of ladybugs called Stethorini in Japan. These are ladybugs that are small and they eat spider mites. And one of the researchers said, hey, I knew that these ladybugs, this group of ladybugs, often inhabit pine trees. And since there are Japanese black pines growing at the satellite of this university, the researcher said, I decided to look there. And that is where I found the new species, right outside the researcher's door. They say normally insect collectors don't pay much attention to pine trees, which is perhaps why scientists have overlooked this species for so long. It is very, very tiny, as you say. The only way to distinguish them, they said, is by cutting them open. They say that they're just a bit bigger than a grain of sand. And so they aren't surprised that this insect was classified in a wrong way or wasn't found. They studied 1,700 different ladybug species, and they concluded that two species are one and the same. That was Stethurus japonicus and Stethurus siphonalis. So both of them are the same. They thought they were different. They took a look inside. They're the same. And then the previously unidentified species came to light. So they named it Stethurus takakoe after one of their grandmothers and her support of the researchers' interest in insects. The interesting thing they say is this clarifies there's a widespread species found from the tropics to temperate Japan. They are all over the place, and people rarely notice such small insects. But they say their study has showed even in a city or on a university campus, there are unknown species living right beside us. These minor insects support our ecosystems, and they're hoping this discovery makes people interested in the diverse, fascinating world that exists unnoticed right at our feet. So I won't say welcome to the world because he's been here, but welcome, new black ladybug, now that we know about you. If you want to welcome bugs to the world. I like a ladybug. I don't know if I like this ladybug, but I don't mind if a ladybug lands on me. Isn't that supposed to be good luck? If another flying insect landed on me, I'd be freaking out. So why is it that I'm okay with a ladybug? Well, probably because, we like ladybugs, right? They're supposed to be friendly. Look at this little guy. This is a pelican who was injured and rescued near Florida. These birds are so beautiful. Right near a bar in Florida. There was a police officer that came to the rescue of this pelican that was found injured near the bar. The city of Treasure Island, Florida, saying on social media, the officer heard the bird call near the R bar, and the call indicated there was something wrong. So the pelican was rescued by this police officer, then turned over to the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary for treatment and rehabilitation. And I don't know how the bird is doing, but I'm so glad it got help. These creatures are just truly amazing. Okay, I want to show you this amazing message I got from teacher Lori. The headline reads 16 astonishing images from the 2026 Wildlife Photographer of the Year Awards. And it's shocking that people happen to be in the right place at the right time to capture these pictures. Because if you just told me the story of I saw this animal doing this, I probably would say, yeah, right. Right? As they say, what pictures or it didn't happen. Here is one of the photographs of this from the 16 best wildlife photographer of the year pictures. You can see this animal playing with a rodent, a lynx, batting around this rodent. The picture taken in Spain, they say it's common for young lynxes, to play with their prey before they kill it. And this lynx repeatedly threw the rodent high in the air and caught it again and again and again, but it looks like the rodent is flying. The whole thing lasted about 20 minutes before the lynx got bored, took the rodent behind a bush, and ate it. Hard to believe someone could get that close to that picture. Okay, here's another one that I think is incredible. Look at this. Make it big. Look at how beautiful these creatures are. Just so beautiful. Mother feeding this baby. I love it. And this one is a Saris crane and its chick in the rice paddies in Buriram, Thailand. It's a non-hunting area. And to avoid disturbing the birds, this photographer laid still for several hours a day while he watched. In the evenings, after the adults had fed their chicks, they would rest on their nests. The parent of this 1-week-old chick carefully cleaned it. Then they said in a moment of intimacy, they made beak-to-beak contact, and it moved its beak around the chick's beak for a while. Ponlawat Leanne Pinrong, the photographer that took this one. What a shot. And what it took to get that shot as well. This next photograph is, I mean, breathtaking. Look at that. This is, and if you're just listening to the podcast, you got to go to the YouTube show today and see these pictures. Super incredible. This is kind of a sad story behind this picture. It was taken on the coast of the Svalbard archipelago. And right after it was taken, the polar bear and its family went too close to an area of huts. People forced them away. Not long after, the mother bear was found dead in the water near the shore, dying from serious internal injuries. Her cub by her side, and that cub did not survive either. So it's likely the last image taken of this cub, but just such a beautiful picture of this animal. Sad that that happened to them. Look at this next one, is so playful. At these bear cubs. I'll back out a little bit. You can see they're right in front of stopping traffic, you could say. Really cute. This is in Jasper National Park in Canada. Usually you don't see the bear cubs near people or in people areas because the mothers keep them away. But this one is framed by the glow of a car's headlights. They said it took on an almost theatrical feel. So the picture called Dancing in the Headlights with these two little bears. This next one taken at the Simipal Tiger Reserve in Oshida, India. This tiger, known as T12, roams in the night. And what a picture that is. Just showcasing the beauty of these animals. The tiger's named T12, and it has a rare genetic condition where the dark stripes are wider, and it sometimes can make this animal appear almost completely black. So 10 years ago, there were fewer than 7 tigers left in this reserve, and T12 was the only male. He has fathered new generations, and things are looking up at this tiger reserve. They call him a dark knight and a powerful symbol of survival and of hope as well. I don't know how you get close enough to an animal to take this picture either. Look at this. So cute. This is a cicada frozen in fear. A flash of movement, a sharp beak striking, tail sweeping, a purple shimmer glinting from the feathers, lighting up the forest floor. A bird eating a cicada. Leor Berman, the wildlife photographer of the year, taking this picture. I don't usually like to see close-up pictures of spiders, but this next one is kind of interesting. This was found apparently in someone's bedroom. The photographer, who calls his picture Precious Cargo, found this female cellar spider in the top corner of his sister's bedroom in their home in Southampton, England. And upon closer inspection, realized it was carrying precious eggs in its mouth. So he shuffled it onto a piece of wood, moved it to the garage where it could safely raise its young. This spider watches over her eggs for 3 to 4 weeks until they hatch into tiny, transparent spiderlings, and then guards them in her web for a short time until they leave. How cool is that? And I'll back up a little bit so you can see the full picture there. Really interesting. Okay, here's the next one. Look at that. 2 sets of eyes in this one. Wow. This is taken in the city of Valparai in Western Ghats, India. This macaw, the mother racing toward the photographer. The image taken at ground level against a lush backdrop. These are the most endangered species of macaw monkeys in the world, and human activity is eroding their habitat. But look at that little one just hanging out on the bottom. This, I don't know if I'm going to show you this next one just because for the fascinating factor. Here's this. I'll back up a little bit so we don't have to close up of the dead creature on its head. These animals are fighters, right? They clash with their antlers in a show of strength. And the antlers became tightly locked in this case and wouldn't come apart. So a local fisherman says this animal, this sika deer, dragged the whole body of the sparring partner with it for several days before finally tearing off its head. The deer was observed on the Notsuke Peninsula in Hokkaido, Japan, from late November of 2020 to April of 2021. And it was living alone, continuing to forage for grass and branches. They say the image shows life and death bound together. Look at this little face poking out. It's a little sloth face. This mother and baby were observed in La Selva Biological Station in Costa Rica. These animals spent most of their time high up in the canopy. These are brown-throated, three-toed sloths. In a week, they moved between just 3 trees. They're real slow movers. But one afternoon, according to the photographer, as rain was falling, the female nested her young in her arms, sheltering the baby so it didn't get wet. And here is this image with the baby with its arms wrapped around its feet, asleep in its mother's embrace. It's sweet. And here's another shot. This one, look at all those pelicans down below. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. You can see a little better. This is at a bird sanctuary in Walvis Bay, Namibia, taken just as the sun was setting. There was a smell from a nearby open dump that apparently was overwhelming. And in sharp contrast, writes the photographer, Alexandra Brisson, to these lesser flamingos. He said he waited for the right moment, hoping to capture them flying between the power lines, when 2 of them finally took off and their flight stood out against the backdrop. And the image shows how even spaces meant to protect wildlife carry the signs of human expansion. And there they are, taking flight. It's another one. Look at this bear. This is taken in the Kang Krachan National Park in Thailand. Sun bears have started visiting the campsites in the park. They're looking for food. The wild animal's response to humans disturbing its natural habitat. So far, no attacks have been recorded, but they think that maybe it's a conflict waiting to happen. Taken by Mojans Trolley, one of the wildlife photographers of the year. Here is a picture of an otter. And if that otter looks a little strange to you, it's because it has a leucism, lack of melanin. This was taken in southern Panantal in these neotropical river areas. After many boat trips, the photographer spotted this otter feeding on a catfish with leucism, this otter. Animals with this condition can be more vulnerable as they don't have their normal camouflage, but this unique otter often returned to this branch to feed, and it felt very comfortable being observed, according to photographer Daniela Enger, another of the wildlife photographers of the year. And here's another shot of some polar bears. So cute. This is called Family Rest. Christopher Patkow, the photographer. The polar bears resting after their long journey north along the Hudson Bay coast in Canada. The shrinking ice making it harder for the polar bears to hunt and find food to survive in the summer. This next picture is just astonishing in its beauty. So amazing, called Swirling Superpod. This photographer, Cecile Gabion, was freediving in the Pacific Ocean near Costa Rica when this superpod of dolphins came along, hunting lanternfish and guiding the fish toward the surface. She was swimming, she said, so hard to keep up with them that it was almost impossible to take pictures. And her fisheye lens wasn't wide enough to take in the full scene. She said being surrounded by these dolphins was one of the most amazing encounters in her life. A beautiful picture of an interesting hummingbird. Look at this. I have to back out a little bit so you can see its tail. I mean, amazing. You're thinking, what is that? This was taken at the Huembo Lodge in Peru. It's a male spatule tail hummingbird. It's got a long tail, you can see there. It uses the tail to attract females. Really fascinating bird, restricted to a small area in the Andes of northern Peru. And so thank you to Teacher Lori for sending in those pictures, sending in the article. I really appreciate that. I've been holding on to this one for a couple of days. I wanted to tell you about the owl tomb, being called Mexico's most important archaeological discovery in a decade. You can see the face underneath the caricature of the owl. Huge owl head. So interesting looking. So this was uncovered in a really well-preserved Zapotec tomb, and archaeologists think it dates back to the early 7th century. This tomb has intricately carved walls and murals and sculptures, including what you're seeing here, which is a massive owl. And in the Zapotec culture, the owls are thought to have been a symbol of night and of death. And again, archaeologists calling it the most significant archaeological discovery in a decade. They found this tomb in the valleys of central Oaxaca in southern Mexico. They were clued into the tomb's location by anonymous reports of looting at this site, sadly. Oaxaca is the native land of the Zapotecs, who were also called the Cloud People. And that was a group of people who lived among the highlands and the valleys since the 6th century BCE, pre-Hispanic population in Mexico. So you go into the entrance of the stone tomb's antechamber. Its front room, very small, decorated with a complex sculpted portrait. This large owl head protruding from the over door, its curved beak open, and inside its mouth, the sculpted painted face of a man wearing wide hoop earrings. Likely a Zapotec lord, and perhaps, they think, the ancestor to whom the tomb is dedicated. There are intricately carved and painted door jambs, one with the painting of a man, the other a woman, each figure holding artifacts, wearing cloak, shirt, and large headdress. The full-length portraits, they think, may depict other ancestors buried in the tomb as well, or they might represent the tomb's guardians. Then inside the antechamber is another doorway leading to another burial chamber. And above this doorway is a frieze of engraved tombstones carved with calendrical names. The ancient Zapotec calendar, composed of 260 days divided into 20 months, represented the days through the animals and other natural images. And people used the calendar to name gods and important people, each identified by a specific symbol associated with their birth date. The walls of the burial chamber are covered in murals. They're painted in ochre, white, red, green, blue, the murals depicting a parade of people walking toward the entrance of the tomb. They're carrying bags of resin, copal it's called, resin from tropical trees that these peoples commonly burned during ceremonies. Just really fascinating. And you wonder, it's been sitting here. I mean, if looters could find it, why couldn't we find it? All this time, this discovery just sitting here. I mean, the art is Really, really beautiful. Another picture that I wanted to show you of what's found here. So that's the owl. You can see the face inside the owl. And look at the carving and the art on the tomb. Here's another shot of what they found there. Again, just sitting out here, just sitting there. Those are the portraits flanking the tomb's entrance that they think were the guardians. So now the organizers or the archaeologists say they are conserving and studying and protecting this recently discovered tomb. They're going to try to stabilize the mural paints, which are vulnerable to degradation from roots, insects, environment changes, all of this. And they call it an exceptional discovery for what it says about Zapotec culture, its social organization, funeral rituals, belief system, all preserved by the architecture and the murals as well. So this is pretty incredible. And again, I don't know how it goes uncovered for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Here's another picture. I mean, it's huge, right? It's enormous. So here's another. I have one more shot that I want to show you to kind of give you a perspective of how big this is. Look at that. Incredible. All right. It is time for Hide in Your Cave Monday. Here we go. And this time I thought we could take a look at a really cool cave I did not know about. This one is in Romania and it's called the Movile Cave. Movile, the Movile Cave. Almost looks like a heart shape there. The Movile Cave in Romania is called an alien land within our own human inhabited planet. It was discovered in 1986. It's below a vast stretch of barren, featureless plain in Constanta country in Romania. This cave and its inhabitants, because there's some creatures there that you won't find anywhere else, are unique in every possible way. Evolution of life has taken place in a manner completely different from the rest of the world for 5.5 million years. This cave has remained in an isolated state. And conditions inside the cave are really unsuitable for most modern forms of life, but this cave is full of creeping, crawling inhabitants that have adapted to survive in this cave habitat. So there are some theories about this cave. It's kind of an oddity of Romania. One theory suggests the northward movement of the African landmass during the Miocene period resulted in the cutting off of the Mediterranean from the Atlantic Ocean and could have dried out the Mediterranean, leading to the migration of animals toward underground water reserves like those in the Movile Cave. They say it's free of predators, plenty of food and warmth. The cave might have acted like a haven for newly colonizing species. But they say the bacterial species discovered in the cave appear to have been derived from ancestors way before 5.5 million years ago. Even these insects are believed to approach the cave during the Miocene epoch. There's possibility the insects entered the cave by accidental falls and then just bred and thrived in the habitat. There's another theory suggesting they arrived in various stages of time. They think that maybe because there's a species of snail living in this cave that's been found to inhabit the cave for more than 2 million years. So they don't know exactly what happened. They do think the Movile Cave could answer a lot of questions about how life formed in primordial Earth and how the first primordial life forms evolved. The conditions of this cave, the Movile Cave, and that of geothermal vents of the world today appear to represent the conditions of primordial Earth. The atmosphere, the ocean conditions with carbon dioxide and sulfides and methane and ammonia, which is this combination of toxic compounds that would kill off most life, but forms of life still survive in the Movile Cave. So interesting. This environment inside the Movile Cave completely different from the outside world. The atmospheric air, 21% oxygen, 0.03% carbon dioxide. The cave air contains 7 to 10% oxygen and 2 to 3.5% carbon dioxide. It has 1 to 2% content of methane, and the water and air of the Movile Cave is rich in ammonia and sulfides. So you would think that it would repel life, but there are 48 species, including 33 endemic species that have been discovered in this cave. They say the food chain in the cave is weird too. Bacteria utilizes chemosynthesis to oxidize sulfur and methane, producing nutrients from other microbes, which then multiply rapidly to form a microbial mat over the walls of the cave and the floor of the water bodies. And small insects and other invertebrates feed on these microbial mats, and then they prey on the larger predators. They are the prey of the larger predators, I should say: spiders, scorpions, snails, insects, and leeches, some of the larger species inhabiting the Movile Cave. There are some problems, though, nowadays. Even though these unique species have survived for so many years, there is a growing human settlement threatening to disturb the delicate balance of this cave, and leakage from septic tanks and sewage lines in nearby urban centers may change the water composition of the cave and harm some of the species. They also say the entry of humans into this cave for exploration poses a threat to the unique habitat, that we should just leave it closed off, move away from it, let it go. It could help us solve mysteries about our planet and also alien life on other planets as well. So that's the Movile Cave in Romania. Here's another cave I found that I wanted to show you today, and it is this is a cave in South Africa where cave jewelry was first found. And here's a picture of ostrich eggs that were carved so many, many years ago. It is the cave is in Kenya. I said South Africa, my apologies. Kenya. And these are some of the oldest pieces of jewelry ever known. So I'm sorry, this is South Africa's Blombos Cave, Blombos, Blombos Cave. It's on the southern Cape Coast. And that is where 41 shells were found. So these are the ostrich eggs, but I have more cave jewelry. And they almost look like snail shells. There they are. You can tell that they were carved in a way that they could be worn with little tiny holes drilled in these snail shells so they could be strung as beads. So they think this is the world's oldest known jewelry, 75,000 years old. These 41 shells were discovered in groups of 17 shells. They came from this snail known to dwell in estuaries. They think the shell beads were chosen based on size and then transported to the Blombos Cave from rivers dozens of miles away. There are traces of red ochre on the shells, indicating that they may have been painted with iron oxide pigment or worn by someone who was maybe wearing some cosmetics or something. These beads are at least 35,000 years old, and they date back to some ostrich eggshell beads discovered in Kenya that are 30,000 years old. And here's the ostrich eggshell beads. Look at the delicate carving on these beads found in this cave. How cool is that? This old jewelry. These ostrich eggshell beads are 30,000 years old, 35,000 years old. They date back to some perforated teeth ornaments from Bulgaria and a string of seashell beads from Turkey. They are the first examples of artistic symbolism and ingenuity. The discovery likely one of the earliest signs of abstract cognition observed in our ancestors. So, you've got the 41 snail shell beads found in the Blombos Cave in South Africa, and these found in Kenya, these ostrich egg beads. Some of the earliest treasures hidden in caves around the world. And that is Hide in Your Cave Monday. Never know what you're going to find when you're looking in a cave. Buried treasure, old jewelry, who knows? All right, I have a story for you. We'll wrap it up with the lotto of the day. I have a couple, and one of them involves a man in North Carolina or from North Carolina who had to go to Ohio for work. You know, you're on a work trip, you're in a strange place, looking at a store that you might not normally go to, think, bought a lottery ticket here, seems kind of lucky. So this North Carolina man was visiting, his name is Gerardo. He visits Ohio for work and decides to buy a scratch-off lottery ticket from the Village Food Mart. He said he never expected to win big when he bought this $20 Monopoly bonus spectacular 100 times scratch-off, and he won a $150,000 prize. He says he's going to buy some exercise equipment to improve his health, and the rest will go towards savings and investments. Well done. Okay, one more lottery story. This woman had a dream of her mother, and the dream she had inspired her to use her mom's phone number to play the lottery. She's from South Carolina. She said she woke up from a dream about her mom and decided to use the digits from her mom's phone number to play a game called Pick 4. So she went down to the Harry's Express and she bought 5 tickets, each bearing the same special set of numbers. And each ticket earned her $2,600, which means she walked away with $13,000 in total. She said, I was super excited, so I left work early. She said she's going to use that $13,000 to take a vacation. And that is the lotto of the day. All right. I am looking at the... Oh, my kids be my worker bees. They do a lot around here, I have to say. No, it's okay. Thank you, Zero Sum. I love the peace signs. Thank you for the messages. Thank you guys for being here and hanging out. Yeah, they were beautiful, right? I hope you guys have a really good rest of your day. If you haven't, again, please click like and subscribe. And I'm just really want to tell everyone thank you so much for the sending in the stories and the ideas and the comments and after hours. I'm loving seeing all the things you guys are typing in the after hours trading there after the show is over. The recorded version is available and you can leave comments underneath, and so that's really helpful as well. And of course, thank you for all the contributions. Just really appreciate it. All right. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, Mark returns. David K. Johnston will be in the house. Jefferson Graham, Tech Tuesday, and the founders of Zellman's Minty Mouth will be swinging by as well. So I'm interested to hear their story about what inspired them to create Zellman's. All right, everybody. Until we meet again, make it the very best rest of your Monday. And stay out of the cave and do your 5 minutes of exercise. And I'll meet you right back here on YouTube tomorrow. Bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Yeah, I love it. Bring me all the vanilla tea. Thanks, Doug. I'm really hoping I don't have to have surgery, but I think I might have to. Ah. Well, the good news is I can still do the show even if I'm recovering, right? Oh, I don't know. We'll see what they say. I bet I have to have like an imaging and stuff. Not looking forward to it. Sorry for complaining. Ending on an up note. Woohoo! Have a great day, everybody.